In the current meta, supports are totally broken. Just in terms of damage increase, supports can more than double the damage dealt by the DPSs. As a support, you are the most important member of your party, not just in terms of shields, DER, and utility, but also in terms of the damage increase that you provide. This means that if you want to clear a raid like Kazeros hard mode, and especially TFM, you will need to minimize mistakes, outperform yourself, and show those DPSs who's the boss around here. As such, I've prepared this Kazeros hard mode commentary video to provide the basic information necessary to tackle this raid as a support. I will go through each of the 4 supports, showing my choice of skills and engravings, and I will comment on what my mindset is in a given situation, explaining what the best course of action is, what I did wrong, or what I could have done better. The most important part in this video is awakening timings and shield patterns. Throughout the raid, there are a lot of fixed timings where supports are expected to provide awakening shield, and there are a lot of patterns where supports are expected to provide shield plus DR. I hope you'll take the time to study the commentary I provide to internalize all of this information. It is best if you can go over all 4 support commentaries, as I might explain something in depth in one part and not do so in another. However, if you're short on time, I guess you can focus on the supports you do play. On an additional note, I'm in the process of making a TFM commentary video, which will also feature all 4 supports. I'm still trying to get clear footage for Bard and Artist. I've been trying, but it's not easy while trying to pug it. If you're looking forward to that video, if you like this kind of content, if you want to cheer me on, please don't forget to like, follow, subscribe on YouTube and Twitch. Now let's get ready for Gate 1. So for battle items, Pot, Time Stop, Splendid Sacred Charm or Bomb, and Dark or Whirlwind Grenade. Time Stop allows you to survive the 500 line mech Just Guard, but once the parties start becoming stronger and more experienced, you won't be needing Time Stop anymore, and that is when you can switch over to Stimulant for more buffs. I recommend taking Shiny Sacred Bomb over Charm, and you'll basically only use this if something goes wrong at the full gauge mech of the last phase, where you can provide cleanse and CC immunity from afar or on yourself. Lastly, Dark Grenade or Whirlwind Grenade. If you do take Whirlwind, it's just for the 700 line mech to push it a bit faster. For card sets, Earth set is best if all your party has 30 set. That is for the free stagger the support gets on their card set. And you'll use LOS Cliff if otherwise. For engravings, Awakening, Expert, Magic Stream, Core. Crisis Evasion is recommended for beginners and advanced players alike. And if you're playing Bard or Artist, Heavy Armor is recommended as a 5th because they have lower health defense coefficients, but you can switch over to drops once you get an idea for how much the patterns hurt. Now there are 3 fixed Awakening timings. 650 chains after Clash, 500 chains after Mech, and 100 Elgic Mech, where you use Hyper. The rest of the Awakenings, you use Freestyle. You will have to memorize these timings and use Awakenings in such a way that you have them available for these fixed timings. Okay, Kazeros Gate 1, Paladin. Start with Paladin. Here are my skill set choices, skill choices, comments. You can pause the video to take a deeper look. Let's dive in. Always stack Match Stream Luminary before going into the raid. Okay, attack buff in, identity buff that applies branding. And here, so when this pattern happens, you want to take a look at who has the symbol on them. I think I wasn't able to catch it, so I do get caught here. But yeah, like if you are standing in the same zone as the person who has the symbol, you want to just guard together. Otherwise, you move out entirely. But it's also the case that, like, didn't they? Yeah, they turned it a lot too. Although I should have moved more, I guess. This part is push if you're in the front side, so you either go to the back or you push him unit. Just guard. You can also just push him unit. Keep maintaining attack buff branding. Here, process in the front, and then you want. This is a pattern where you need to shield people. So here, because there's random poop appearing on the back side, Here's a mistake that you guys will also commit. So in this case, we pushed really fast to 900 bars. But I wasn't ready for it. I did not expect the damage to be this fast, so I wasn't paying attention. I tried to cast Awakening. These telekinetic balls will grab you out of your Awakening as well. So you want to be ready for when 900 line hits. You'll immediately cast this pattern. As you want to move out. Because this leads to loss of uptime, but more importantly, you can't provide shielding to the people who are caught and the people who are not caught as well. The support should not get caught by this. This one, process immune, or yeah, process immune, the pull. And you want to be on the backside. Right strike and then left. So once right strike is done, you go to the right to be safe. Trash pattern, trash pattern. So you just move out of this one. It's not a damage window at all. Nobody does damage here. I think I tried to hit my brand, but I was late. Oh, someone got electrocuted there. Oh, this is a really messy run. He did the right strike, left strike again. I got hit by that. Generally, as a support, I want to try and hit the second one, if possible. Because if you hit the first one, it's very hard to keep uptime while also trying to protect people from the last one. Because when he strikes the ground with that glaive, there's an explosion that happens, and that's push. But some people choose to tank it because you also get hit by it from the back, so you need supports to provide shielding throughout that for those people who are trying to tank it. So yeah, to look at it again, I do the second one. I try to do the second one, and then I provide God's Decree there, right? While trying to maintain uptime. For this one, you want to push, and in hard mode, even if you get hit by this, it's not instant death. So you could try to save people by providing shield to them if they do get hit, but like honestly, it's their fault if they get caught by that one particular. Telekinetic puddles. So when he does that, you want to be careful because he's gonna do a pattern that is gonna push you somehow. You want to be careful not to get pushed. So for instance, here he does the right left. Right. People do get pushed. If they got knocked into that puddle, that would have been not great. And then second one, I just push immune. Front. I'm at the back, so I'm going to provide shielding. Z and God's Decree for good measure. Blue, white, fire. So white, blue was it? White, blue. So back safe, and then diagonal safe. I think I was trying to push immune it, but I missed the timing. It's alright though. That thing does hurt a lot, so. And also, there's people who do try to tank it in those cases. It's nice if you can provide God's Decree if they do try to tank it. Now we had the 700 line pattern. So in this part, you just need to memorize all the patterns. I mean, that's true for everything in this raid. But you need to have a good understanding of what are the counter patterns and what patterns there are, how to avoid them. Counter. And you always want to have a counter available just in case he gives you a counter, because that also increases your stagger and gives you a good window. That's the one shot. You want to dodge that one out. God's Decree because he was trying to push me in the front. And I move to the side. Gives me a good angle from the side to do stagger. First strike. We have the star on the ground, but he's about to... Yeah, the stagger's done. You don't need to mind about the explosion. Go to your safe spot. It's the one that looks different. And we're not doing the typing business because we know we're not gonna deal with it. The 500 line pattern. So here you hold on Awakening, okay? You hold on Awakening. You don't use it. You're trying to push him down to 650, basically. And when he does this pattern here, you'll see because he spawns that huge orb. And then he does an uppercut, and then he moves slightly forward, slash, slash. And then that's your cue to go in. Otherwise, you just try to get away from him. That's the safest way. This pattern, the whirlwind pattern, try to shield people. We're trying to tank it in the center. It's a lot of chip damage. So 650. And although it would be nice if I use my awakening to get gauge here, I don't use it because I'm holding it for the chain pattern that comes right after. I use my stimulant in this case. Because it's a decent damage window. I use my awakening. That's the proper way to do it. So see, the other party also has awakening down. That allows you to protect people from the chains. Now, because we have 3 stacks of the telekinesis pattern, the telekinetic stacks, that shield hurts a lot. So it's very important that you have your awakening available for this pattern. The chains do more damage to your shields the more stacks you have. So not like even awakening shield is not enough in the case of TFM especially. You want to follow it up with God's Decree if possible as well. Double counter and then just damage window in the center. Another whirlwind pattern. So God's Decree in the center. Orb pattern. Move away. And then swipe, swipe, and then you go in. The symbol. Watch the symbol. That's where he's going. So this is an awkward spot. So I just use push immune just in case I get knocked. Because he does a big wipe in the front. He's going to sting. Someone got grabbed, which means back is not safe. So I move out of it. See all the danger pings going into? And that's also to alert that we've reached 500 bars. 500 bars is not a damage window, like at the beginning of it. That's why you don't use Awakening, although this is chain pattern. Because like you have to dodge anyways. You can't do damage because it's not only chains, it's also he places these red telegraphs on the people who are closest to him. It's not a damage window. So people just dodge, so no awakening there. So you save your awakening throughout this. Now you enter 500 bar, full identity, full buff. Full buff, you want to keep your people shielded. God's Decree when the red telegraphs appear. So we do the shield. The shield's done. And you want to use awakening around the time when he wakes up like that. Or like before that is safer. I was trying to get the most out of my identity by using it a bit later. We get the Ella pattern. Elgic pattern. Attack buff. Brand. Key skill in. And then you have to provide shielding. Because these what you call that? Tentacle things. They hurt. Just guard because we reached 370. And then that's the hidden way. Keep providing identity buff, damage window. It's a big damage window. Drop him down below 300, so he's going to phase right away. Third phase. Push immunity. L'Oreal. If he doesn't blink, then he doesn't turn again. Find a safe spot. That's a backward swipe. So if you're at the front, it's fine. Chain process immunity for that to not get sucked in. That's why I recommend Light Shock over SOJ. Just having more process immunity all over just makes things safer. I tanked that with Wrath of God, I think. The push. Like, this is one of the nice damage windows. Of course, it's not nice for head attackers, but for back attackers, it's great. Spacebar, that's the half gauge. You move back in. I think that red telegraph is a one-shot, so you don't want to get hit by that. Another swipe in the front after he reappears there. 100-line pattern. So, if you noticed, I was saving my awakening for this. So, like, yeah, it came back. Actually, it came out right in time. So, like, you want to do the math in your head after you reach 300. So, you want to gauge whether your awakening will be back for the 100-line pattern, so that you can use hyper for it. So, for instance, at 240, my awakening's coming back. And so I think whether I should use it. I think, yeah, we have more than 100 bars to go. That'll definitely take like a minute at least. So I choose to use it. Even though our DPS is really fast, I think 1 minute, 110 bars-ish should be alright. My awakening should come back. And so it does. So the math will depend on how fast your group is pushing. So this is something where you kind of have to like juggle things. And you'll get used to it, of course. So my hyper is back, ready for the 100-line pattern. So what you do here is attack buff, branding, renewal, all that before using hyper. And this is not a damage window, so like you don't need to like focus on providing, renewing your buffs here. So the hyper is there just in case we mess this part up. Of course, in hard mode, it's not as important, I guess, because you do have res. But just to minimize the risk and get ready for that TFM as well. You want to get into the habit. For this gauge pattern here. Also for this one. For this one, it's nice if you can provide God's Decree around the boss just in case. Actually, no, not this one. No, never mind. This one, you just look at the minimap and then follow the boss. This pattern, though, is the co-op counter. Well, I guess it's single in hard mode, but the important part here is that you have to provide shielding to your party mates. Because if you see, there's a lot of puddles that appear, and these hurt a lot. So see how I have all the shield going in? Your priority is not to counter here. Your priority is to provide the shielding. Once you have provided the shielding, then you can focus on countering. Here, left side safe. So if his HP had not gone down to 0, he would have swiped right side, so left side is safe. Yep, that's pretty much it. Now let's take a look at Valkyrie. So here's my skill set for Valkyrie. Note that this post-bounce patch, so some of the tripod choices are different. I tend to take Truce Decree because of process immunity. And then mana tripods, focus runes can be taken or taken off, depending on your mana situations. So because I have full arc grid on my Valkyrie and the mouse patch, I have double stacks on Ash and Rain, and that led to more mana consumption, which meant that I had to take a focus rune here and take a mana tripod somewhere. So like your setup will depend on your situation. For that reason, Gale wins to reduce animation lock for better uptime and such. Now let's dive in. So stacking on Magic Stream, Luminary, every time. I start with the attack buff, leap, identity buff in. And then I can use my red skills. Stack up the second identity buff. Here you sidestep the stab at the front. And I tend to try to do the second one. So that I can provide that. Is it called Area of Salvation? Yeah, the area thing. Just guards. So with the Awakening, I renew my third identity there too. Shielding, going in. Shielding, very important for this pattern. Shielding over countering, okay? $900 bars, so we have the telekinetic pattern. And in case nobody got caught, that means that he's gonna lay puddles. He still lays puddles, right? So you're providing shielding around the boss like this. That's why I'm using the area. Very important to know that that is a shield timing for supports. Spacebar to avoid the upper cut, and then just guard. Keep maintaining attack buff and branding. Trash pattern. You just move out slowly, slowly. If possible, you want to group up with someone else so that you lay puddles together. I renew attack buff and branding. Get it moving out. So this guy's the target. He's gonna move over here. So this is how you position yourself. Like, this is the proper way to do it. So if you know you have the symbol, you're moving out immediately. So that guy did great job. And he pinged it too. The safe spot is, you see this shadow here? If you move slightly away from it over here, then you won't be caught in the push when he dashes. That's one thing very good to know. And generally, if you are the symbol, you want to move to the opposite side of the map so that you don't draw him to one of the corners, one of the edges. So that was pro move by that guy who had the symbol. Nobody got caught, so he doesn't do a like an AoE push. There, you want to use push. It's also inside safe, but sometimes it's kind of hard to find that spot. So you just want to spacebar, push immune. Need to provide shielding for the people who are at the back. Also, sometimes if you have a breaker, I'll try to tank it in front. You want to provide shielding throughout. See, I've already shield, and I'm also using Awakening for the identity. Telekinetic pattern. And he does the stab, so I sidestep it, and then move to the front. And then I use the area for shield, for the explosion that happens at the end. I push immune spacebar away because he does the timed pattern. Here, very nice if you can provide shielding. And you want to pay attention to the people who didn't make it to the safe spot and provide them with some sort of shield. They're not able to make it. Super save angle. Left, right. Or right, left. Always pay attention to his every move. You move to the back and then chain process skills for that one. I should probably change to Valkyrie PNG, actually. Okay, the one-on-one. Counter. He gives me a second counter, but since I don't have the double counter, I'm not able to do the second one. But this third one, I'm able to. Move out of the front and stay at the side for this one. You just keep attacking him from the side. Just guard. Sidestep. The one shot. counter. And the stagger stun. So like you should have a good read on every one of his moves and be able to dodge them and do stagger while you're doing that. And you're maintaining Luminary Mastery throughout this, of course. That's why I'm juggling skills. Attack buff, identity. Hold your awakening for the 650. Hold your awakening on this part. The timing to do the Just Guard is when he swirls his spear. His glaive. I tried to do Just Guard at that timing, but it wasn't directly in my area. Move out of that explosion. And I use the push immunity from Leap to not get pushed by that. We reach 650, I have full identity. Perfect. So I can provide identity during this clash. And then the idea would be to hold on the red skills because I'm going to be using Awakening anyways. I do use T skill because it's a good damage window still. The gauge is kind of like wasted, but had to do it. I use Awakening that protects these people from these chains during this. So that's the fixed Awakening timing. If you don't have Awakening, you just try to use every shield measure that you have to protect these people. In TFM though, that might not be enough. Co-op counter. And you're trying to provide all the buffs while providing shield. And you want to dodge or push immune. These things on the ground. They knock you. If your group happens to fail the damage check here, then if you have time stop, you time stop the explosion. Spear attack in the front. Don't get grabbed by that. Otherwise, nice damage window. You want to check who has the symbol. It's not me. Yeah, they didn't keep track of it properly. But yeah, otherwise, nice damage window from the back. And since we reached 500, he immediately does that, the chain pattern. This is not an awakening window. You just like mad ping everyone. Like at least one person should try and keep track of whether he's reaching 500 and ping furiously when you do reach it. Because like, see that guy almost like half health. It hurts a lot. Of course, you should try to provide shielding if possible as the support, but not awakening. Attack buff, identity buff, T skill also going in. While you're providing shielding. So you want to shield them especially on the first telegraph here. This telegraph. You see I have everyone shielded already. I have the second identity buff in. And I'm waiting to use awakening after my attack buff right here. Yep. Perfect. That allows me to maintain uptime while casting awakening. And then no identity wasted there. Just chain all that identity buff. T skill. We have the Elgic pattern. Attack buff plus shielding. The stagger is less important. It's a great damage window, this one. Now we reached 370, so he's gonna do the spear, just guard. So I was ready for that. Attack buff. I use stimulant because I want to provide that identity buff immediately. It's a nice timing to save stimulant for, in case you bring stimulant, of course. But like in the first few weeks, you'll be taking time stop. A straight up damage window. Then you go greet him for the third phase. right, left. So like, that's why you always want to keep track of what he's doing, right? He does the right, left. I wasn't quick enough to react to it, or I didn't pay attention. Awakening, identity buff. God's Decree, or like area for the push. And that was so the logic on this is if someone gets knocked by that, then he won't turn again. But you have to get knocked. Like, you can't push immune it. So here, nobody got knocked, so he does the back swipe. And you can tell from the blink on his sword. And that's why I used the attack buff for push immune. Also trying to get out of the way. I got knocked by that. I shouldn't have. I had the recovery, so it's fine. Find the safe spot. Maintain attack buff and branding. God's Decree, just in case for your own self push immunity, of course, but also to protect people. You then do the backward fling. In this case, I think I used identity buff for the push. Yeah, that was kind of tight. So I used identity buff to knock and knocked, and then chained it with leap. God's Decree, like area, shortly, to get that push immunity. Knock and knocked. Another Lariel. And here, you'll notice I have 15 seconds left on my Awakening, so I will keep that to use it at the 100-line pattern. You want to calculate it such that you have Awakening available for 100 bars. And here, so that's the half gauge mech here. So you can actually CC block it, so Bard Guardian Tune works. But you can also spacebar it if you know the timing on it. Like, that's what I did there. Not too important, but nice party trick. Uppercut, and then find safe spot. That's the stagger mech. Sidestep, the knock, and then go to the left. Don't stagger. This one's the crazy pattern. Like, just try to use God's Decree. It's only protection, like the blessing thing. It's hard to use because it doesn't have process during that. Because like his movements are really unpredictable. Like, try to use, like, I also use heal because people got chip damage from that. Yeah, if you can read that he's about to do it, like that's his pre-motion for it. You want to react to it and try to use the area to provide people with the shielding. So here, 100-line pattern. So what you do is attack buff, branding, and then immediately hyper so that you maintain uptime while you're using hyper. And then you don't use identity buff because it's not a damage window anyways. Just try to provide people with extra shielding. Just in case we fail. It's not a difficult mech. But like if you do fail it though, it can be pretty disastrous. That's why we use hyper to reduce the risk factor. Yep. Now I didn't get to show you the full gauge pattern because we pushed too fast. That should be good enough. Okay, now Bard Gate 1. So here are the skill choices for Bard. And note that you pick one between the two brands, one between these two skills. You pick whichever brand. Sonatina is definitely popular. And it pairs better with Soundholic. Now, I recommend Soundholic because it has better reach and it has process immunity. The problem, of course, is that it has long cast time, and it becomes better if you do have that arc grid core that reduces the cast time on it. Now, even without it, though, I think it's a bit more practical compared to Prelude, especially because countering is not as important throughout Kazeros. anyways, and it's hard to find those prelude angles because of all the process and pushes he does. Also, Soundholic, generally you'll take it with the gauge setup, but stagger tree can also be considered if your group is really being terrible at the 700 line mech, and even in gate 2, because there's a lot of stagger checks there too. And I mean, this is okay because if you're going full swift, you'll be busy enough already juggling your other skills. Gale Winds on Sonic Vibration, Guardian Tune, Evelyn Tune. I take those because less animation lock leads to better uptime. And I've also seen some players use Quick Recharge, which is alright. And then wealth allocation depends on which arc grid core you take, of course. But yeah, if you don't have arc grid core, I just like do whatever, I guess. Okay, let's go in. So in my case, I have the Rhythm Buckshot core, and I'm trying to get the Soundholic core to try it out too. In this case, I use Preludes. I've been testing around things. So yeah, that's right, left. So after the right strike, you move to the right. His right. There's process in the front, so I change skills in such a way that I don't get knocked there. So Heavenly Tune. I fit in that Sound Shock in between the patterns. And then attack buff into Rhapsody because you want to shield people from those puddles that appear. Awakening. Want to watch out for the 900 line telekinesis. It's probably going to happen after this. You want to shield people during this. Number one priority on supports is to shield people when he does the counter gauge pattern. Move out of the telekinesis pattern. You got one person trapped. It's your party mate. So you're going to counter, and then you're going to provide protection to that person. Like that. That's why it's very important for the support not to get caught by the telekinesis pattern. So for this one, try to locate the person who has the symbol, but it's kind of tough, right? So like if you get knocked, you can just stay on the ground, kind of. But also, you can just push immune it. Here I Rhapsody, the follow-up. Trash pattern. You move out. Try to group up with people if possible, like this. I got trapped, so like my uptime's going down here. And then like he was doing swipe on this side, so I couldn't apply the sound shock. My brand uptime also goes down here. Sucks. Still can't use sound shock. Okay, now I use it. That was scuffed. Always want to keep track of his patterns. So that was right strike, left strike again. I didn't react to it. Or like I was casting Winner Music, which makes it hard. Or not? Was I trying to cast Prelude? Yeah. I was probably trying to Prelude Spacebar, but Prelude Animation Lock OP. Process Immune, and then I just use Awakening for the shield in this case. The co-op counter. So here, because people were knocked and all, I tried to do the first counter, but generally I try to wait for the second, because that makes it easier to maintain uptime and to provide shield at the end. So yeah, that's why I was trying to Sound Shock, Attack Buff, and Rhapsody at the end for the explosion. But yeah, it's a bit more difficult if you do the first counter, because you have to go lay poop on the side. Identity buff. And I provide Rhapsody and then lead in Sonic Vibration so that people have the shield for the puddles at the end. White, so straight up damage angle from the back. I think I'll just use Rhapsody, just in case there's people tanking it at the end, and to provide myself with push immunity as well. So the fantastic damage window. Telekinesis. Oh, but we phase him. Oh yeah, one very good tip is if you have Awakening available going into this, you just spam Awakening the moment the screen turns bright, and then people can go in with that shield. It's not too important, but better than to waste Awakening, I guess. Okay, so okay, let's look at this part again. Just guard. Swipe. Uppercut into just guard. So that uppercut is push. The laser, I want to sidestep that. Counter. So I had buckshot ready for that. I use another buckshot because I have double stack for the stagger. That was really weird. That should have worked as counter. I guess it was slightly late, but yeah, that was weird. Sidestep. The sting, and then just guard when he slams the ground. You want to sidestep the laser. Prelude, lucky counter. Maintain Luminary Match Stream throughout this. That's why I'm using Guardian Tune and stuff. Also gets it out of the way. Attack buff, identity buff. And you hold Awakening, this part. You hold on Awakening for the 650. For this one, it's best if you poop around him. So you gather all around him. So process immune this part. So you don't get knocked like this guy. And then when the puzzles appear, you just move out. Like that. That's the safest way. If everyone's doing that, makes it easier to navigate. Oh, see? So, like, there was a puddle there. If you fail to just guards, those puddles appear. I push immune with the Rhythm Buckshot while also getting Gauge. You move out of him when he does that pattern. And Sound Shock's great in these situations because you can apply branding from afar. In this case, it was scuffed because we were trying to get him out of that area. But he did the pierce pattern. I noticed because this guy had the symbol on him. So after seeing that, I just reacted using Just Guard, like assuming that he was doing the Just Guard pattern. Yeah, that was clean. Attack buff in, branding, identity buff. And this is why you keep your Awakening. You're going to use it on this part. I did 3 bubble and then 1 heal into Awakening. That will protect people during this part, the chains, because we have 3 stacks as well. See, like the Awakening shield just vanished because we have 3 stacks. So in these cases, you not only want to apply Awakening, you also want to provide Rhapsody. In hard mode, it's okay to tank it like that, but in TFM, if you have 3 stacks like this, you not only want to provide Awakening, you probably want to ping danger to tell people that it's not safe. Because if you have more stacks, it leads to increased damage on shield from those chains. That one's back safe, and then you have to push it. So see what I do? So front swipe, so I'm at the back, so it's safe. And then he's gonna lay puddles like that. So I use Guardian Tune to push immune it, and then I go to the front to do the counter. And then 3 bubble. Because we need to get the damage done to nullify this explosion. We're at 540. So a bit more damage needed. So for the uppercut comet one, you want to look at his motion. When you see him, like, you're gonna get used to it. Like, you'll notice him doing this. It's really fast though. That's why I use Guardian Tune for the push immunity. And then once he decides where he's gonna land, you can just spacebar towards him so that you don't get hit by this. This leads to a lot of gauge increase on yourself. So you don't want to get hit by that. It also knocks you to the ground. So again, when he does that, when he summons the orb, you move out like this. So uppercut, and then he's gonna do an extra dash. You stay away from it, and then you go in. That's a safe way to deal with it. However, we managed to hit 500, so immediately laid down the chains, and they hurt a lot because we have 3 stacks. So one guy dies from that. If you're doing, if you're progging and all, you wanna like be in calls or at least like try to ping, alerting that we already reached 500 bars. Now he's about to do the chains. The attack buff, 3 bubble in, and you want to provide shielding during this. I already gave them winner music, and providing them with an extra heal for good measure. Now here's the problem. So like, if it's an overgeared group, we should have pushed already. Right? So it's a shield check. We should have already have pushed, but we failed to. Which means that I don't have time stop. We're not doing the mech properly. I'm gonna die. So I just choose to use hyper here. If I had time stop, I would have used that. But like, I would only have brought time stop if I knew that the damage is gonna be lacking. And I thought the damage would be enough, but it was not. So I just like improvised on the spot and used hyper. But that means that we don't have hyper at the 100 bar mech. So we have that added risk. As I gave them hyper, they're not gonna die through this. Just like shield, but they're not gonna die, so it's okay. Keep maintaining uptime during this. Back safe for that one. Watch where the symbol person is and go to their opposite side. Oh, the telekinetic glaive. He drops a glaive, a spear, and you go outside inside. That's the donut version, not the star version. And then you go poop outside, if possible. That opens up free terrain on the center. Like, I had spear, right? So I moved out and laid the poop on the outside. Unlike this guy. Now we have the Elgic pattern. Timed pattern. Attack buff. So attack buff branding, but shield is important. Shield is important. I use 3 bubbles here because I know I have stimulant anyways. So I'll be able to provide 3 bubbles again for the 370 clash. We have another symbol pattern. I think I dodged it. That's bad. Because like the problem is like the aggro keeps turning. Just best if you just guard it twice. And he also turned it at the end. That's not good. Just guard. You want to be aware of the HP bar at all times so that you're ready for that just guard. He always does it. I have that 3 bubble going in. I used heal and then I used stimulant into 3 bubbles. Make the most out of the identity I had. And then I don't renew it because he's gonna phase. So I use it here. Brand into attack buff. Just guard. Uppercut into slam. Find a safe spot. Right, left. So once he slams the right, you go to the right. Chains. If you chain process immunity, you're safe from the back. So you want to be aware as Bard that if you're taking sound, like all your brands don't have process immunity. So you want to be careful of using those. And then if you have prelude, you want to be careful, of course. That's why I recommend Soundholic, because that does have process immunity. The slashes in the front, that's a free damage window in the back. And I saw that one guy was about to die from that. This guy. I tried to save them, Rhapsody, but they moved out quick enough. Good for them. Right, left. So that's why I went to the back. Back is safe for this one. So it's like a cone like this. And then you go to the right. Now use Awakening thinking that I'll probably be back for 100 bars. Probably. So you have to make these calculations, right? Like you want your... I mean, I used Hyper earlier, but like best case scenario, I have Hyper available for 100 bars. So you want to calculate such that you have it available. So I'm using this in my mind. I'm like, I'll probably have it back for the 100 bars. For this one, it's a shield pattern. Very important shield pattern for supports. If you don't shield, it's your fault. Let's see. I spacebar in and provide Rhapsody for that. I tank that using Sonic Vibration. Right, left. Okay, the initial slam front back is safe. Stagger pattern. Move out and then move to the center and then go to the left. Left is safe. He does a swipe like that at the end. L'Oreal? No, it's the X. X, you want to push immune. The slash he does at the beginning. So yeah, so like I saw people getting uppercutted over there. So I reacted to it, giving them Rhapsody. You want to be aware. This guy was the aggro. He's like turning it all over the place. I got hit by the slash at the front. There. And it's really messy. The hero might get the full gauge pattern first, or the Elgic pattern first. The 100 line Elgic. Yeah, we get the Elgic pattern first. I'm gonna provide attack buff and branding. I'm just gonna use my 3 bubbles. I could have just saved it for after, because this is not a good damage window anyways. That's probably not the best. I use my Awakening. So like Awakening, like if you're using Hyper, of course, the Awakening timing is right after you apply attack buff branding. Like I would have, like I should have used it right here instead of like 3 bubbling. Because this is not a good damage window anyway. This is a wasted 3 bubble. And if they had failed, then a lot of people would have died there. Here I have Awakening. A very belated Awakening. Now we're at the full gauge pattern. So unlike on the other commentaries, this one I do get to show the 5 counters. You're maintaining Luminary Mass Stream here, of course. And Soundshock I have Reach. So I can brand from afar. And you lay puddles first outside. Okay, so what happened here is someone trolled. Let's look at this. Look at the mini-map. Wait, whose poop is that? Because there's poop here, but I don't know where it's from. That's weird. Yeah, that's totally weird. So we got yeah, I don't understand. Anyways, that's one of the reasons why you bring CC block, like the Shiny Sacred Bombs. Like, just in case, like, the person who's trying to do the Just Guards, there's puddle in their way. And if you're on the same party, you can throw Shiny Sacred Bomb from afar to protect them. Yeah, that was really weird. Because there was nobody there. At least from the minimap. I think. The reason why you don't tank this one, the red. Let me explain this pattern, by the way. So one guy's gonna get, well, as you spacebar in, you gotta spacebar this part. It like stuns you, like CCs you a bit. Uh, Someone's gonna get the symbol. That person is gonna go one direction. Everyone else goes the opposite. And yeah, these people are just do damage, while this person does the just guard. It's 5 just guards. You wanna watch video footage of this a few times to get the hang of it. The timings. If you fail, each just guard failed will give him a shield. And then at the end you have to counter. Because that gets rid of the debuff stacks you have. Every time you just guard successfully, you get darkness stack and also reduce your attack speed and such. But if you counter at the end, that removes it. And then you want to get out because there's he does a pierce move that I think is a one shot. And then this part you can't tank because this one does not only a lot of damage, but also it interrupts everything, including push immunity. There's no good reason to tank it. I use Guardian Tune to tank the right-left. Stagger pattern, but we're done here. Yep. Okay, gate 1, artist, skill choices. Pick 2 out of these 3. So they each setup provides different benefits. Identity plus process immunity for Tiger and Door. That's my usual setup. Because I really like process immunity. And Stagger, Tiger plus Sprinkle, gives you max Stagger. That helps you with the 700 line mech. And Shielding, max Shielding, Door and Sprinkle. That's what a lot of artists tend to take. And I personally take Galewind on Hopper, even though I do have the Arc Grid core for Hopper. I just really like how Galewind reduces the animation lock you have on Hopper, and yeah, it condenses it so that like it doesn't get in the way of other skills, especially buff and brand. But once you do have Arc Grid core, definitely wealth is a much more of an argument for wealth. In fact, most artists are taking wealth with the Arc Grid core. However, if you don't have the Arc Grid core, I do recommend taking Galewind. I'm not sure if the West will get the balance patch where you have push immunity. I actually no, the push immunity part is from Arc Grid core. Never mind. I do recommend Galewind, basically. And Galewind's in other places for less animation lock, of course. Yep. Okay, let's dive in. So, Magic Stream Luminary, pre-stacked, attack buff as we go in, identity buff, T-skill. And I have push immunity on Hopper, so I can kind of be aggressive with it. Awakening. Oh, I was trying to push immune it, I think. I didn't time it well. That one... Okay, that one was also scuffed. I think I was trying to get Drawing Orchids in before the push. So I had to use I think I used a 1 bubble to renew the brand. Because it was about to fall off because my Orchid got cancelled. My brand momentarily fell off. but I renewed it using one bubble buff. Here, this pattern, most important thing is shielding from supports. Then you counter. Also, don't turn it like that. That is, what the hell are they doing? They turned it 90 degrees. That is so bad. What the hell are they doing? 900 line, telekinesis. One guy in my party's caught, so gotta watch out for them. Do the counter, and then shield, 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 hopper. Fire, fire. So go to the back. One guy died. White, blue, blue. White. My attack buff was slightly late there. So, like, I'm losing uptime here and there. That's not good. Move out of the front. Don't get grabbed. So here you keep using awakenings as they come off for more damage. I think I was the aggro, so I moved out once the aggro was locked. That's how you do it. Attack buff, branding. Telekinesis, puddles. Attack buff. Go to the side for that one. After dodging the front attack. And then we face them. 700. I could have used Awakening there. So one good tip is if you have Awakening available here, you can just use it. So it provides people a shield as they go in. It's not too important, but since it would go to waste anyways. Just guard. I should have just guarded. Oh, this is not a good run. Just guard. You keep trying to get the stagger in. Counter. I'll always try to keep your counter in case he gives you a counter. Oh, no, I think I thought I was not gonna get hit by that. I did. It's too close. This is not clean at all. Sidestep that. Counter. Gotta read his every move. It's a turn-based game, this part. I mean, like, Lost Ark is basically a big turn-based game, but this part is especially true. You have to watch what he does first before you make your next move. Also, renew Luminary Magic Stream. Hold your Awakening for the 650. So watch them. We all stay at the side for that pattern. We phase them to 650. Place my puddle where he's gonna appear. Renew my identity buff. And I use my Awakening. That protects them from the chains. We have one stack, so it's not too bad. I think I saw that what he was trying to do. So, like, you always want to watch his every move. He's about to swipe this direction, so I reacted with Starry Night. Since I've pushed immunity on the hopper, I can do that kind of stuff. Pizza, turning pizza. I would try to renew my brand and attack buff while doing that. Someone else does the counter. Nice. Because I mistimed my first one. So for this one, when he dashes slightly like that, that means he's going to do that pattern. Like that, sidestep. When we use the slick back, basically. You want to process immune this part first, and you stick to the boss. You stick to the boss so that all the puddles gather in the same spot, and then you move out. That's the easy way to deal with this as a group. Because otherwise, like if you're too far, then cause confusion. Like some people lay it in the center, some people lay it in outside. You're like, where do I dodge to? But if everyone gathers at the center on Kazeros and then they move out, then like as long as you move out, it's a safe spot, right? There's also somewhat of a damage window, but like it can get pretty messy. So I have push immunity and hopper, so I can just hop on that. I tried to get to a safe spot here, but like the range on that is really insane, as you can see. I tried to get out of it. I was too far. I was too close. He's gonna... We already have 500, so we need to be careful after this pattern. See how much damage it did to me? I almost died there. I guess I wasn't paying attention when I was doing this. Yeah, this is a really sloppy run. Oh, so many chains. Brand attack buff. T skill, identity buff. Provide shielding. Shielding really important for the red telegraphs. And we do get the shield down. Also use stimulant. And I have the awakening going in. So that's the second fixed awakening in this gate. This protects people from the chains here and allows them to do damage, to keep doing damage while tanking them. Attack buff. And then shield. Shield very important for the Elgic pattern here. Starry Night. We're hitting 370 soon. So I spacebar out to get a good angle for the Just Guard, and I do it. Now, Hidden Way, damage window. Keep those buffs up. My uptime's pretty decent for how sloppy this run is. Hop, hop, hop. I'm telling you, like, push immunity on Hopper is one of the most insane things. So here, when he appears, he does a slash in the front. So I spacebar it there. I spacebar out because he went into the air. That means he's gonna teleport into a different location. So I hop over there. I can hop safely because I know that I have push immunity. Spacebar into hop. Chain that process immunity. So you're gonna get sucked in. Starry Night for process immunity as well. Spacebar out. Another teleport. Hopper, hopper, push immunity. Spacebar, QTR, that's the half gauge mech. In phase 3. Now watch what he's doing. Uppercut, find a safe spot. I just use push immunity from Sunsketch. That's the slashes. So back safe damage window. So be careful about the Zaya attacks that come back. Uppercut. Just get to a safe spot. I use Sunsketch for the push immunity there. So now get the uppercut. Hit from the uppercut. Like these uppercut, that uppercut in particular is really fast, so it's hard to react to. You have to really pay attention. Spacebar in, left side safe. That's where I am. while doing the stagger. Yeah, I don't think my hyper will be back. So this is a miscalculation from my part. Oh, but luckily we got the full gauge pattern. So like the error here is the awakening. So I probably shouldn't have used awakening at 160 because our damage is on the fast side, right? Which means that I should have saved it because we might have gone the 100 line Elgic pattern before the full gauge pattern. Luckily though, he did the full gauge pattern first. That's why he poured it to the center. But you guys shouldn't take that risk. Like it's okay here because it's an experienced room, so we're not gonna fail the 100 line pattern anyways, probably. But just in case, right? Gotta see who the symbol is and go to the opposite side of them. And otherwise, it's a damage window from the back, like this. Just keep dishing out buffs. And I'm holding to my awakening. Because he's gonna do the Elgic pattern right after. When counter's done, we're gonna have to move out. So see what happens when you try to tank it? So I tried to tank it there, right? Starry Night. So I have DR and shield. And watch where my HP goes. It also interrupts my any push immunity that you have. So it interrupts the Starry Night. So if it does that much damage to a support, how much damage would it do to a DPS, right? But anyways, it's not a damage window for DPS anyway, so you don't need to try to tank it as support. Hyper as soon as the 100 line pattern happens. But we managed to kill it right there. Good. Now let's look at gate 2-1. So for battle items, Pot, Stimulant, Splendid Sacred Bomb, and Dark Bomb, there really is no time stop angle in 2-1, so you can just take Stim. As for Splendid Sacred Bomb, it is a must. If you don't bring it, you don't deserve to be in a Kazeros hard mode lobby, period. Stop being El Cheapo, just man up. For engravings, take Awakening, Expert Magic Stream, Crisis Evasion. Take Heavy Armor if you're not sure how much things hurt, and take Drops of Ether otherwise. Now, the most important part is the Awakening timings. I have a list on screen, you want to memorize it. Kazeros Gate 2-1 is basically like a choreographed dance, so you'll be using your Awakenings at these set timings every time. To go down the list, first you hold your Awakening at start, then you use your Awakenings in this sequence. 900 line dance time. After walls break when Kazeros goes to the center. Before telekinesis pizza ends or after telekinesis pull. Chestnut stagger. Scratch. Drink donut stagger. First mech in desert. After 2 times just guard. Spear just guard or after extinction ray. Hyper awakening, add 3 cones. Note that if your team damage is strong and Kazeros dies before the 3 cones pattern, Hyper is best used during Chestnut Stagger or the first mech in Desert. I know that is a lot of information, but trust me, you'll get used to it. For 2-2 and 3, make sure to take off Purify or Cleanse from your skill set. The only thing to discuss is awakening timings. You're expected to awaken at every full gauge mech. This is to minimize risk of death. It is also recommended that you hyper awaken during 2-2 300 line stagger mech to push damage and reduce risk. Otherwise, you can use awakening freely depending on the situation. One thing to note is that Kazeros' bar takes around 3 minutes to fill, excluding mechs that stop it from filling, such as Angry Bird or Elgic mechs. So you should try to hold Awakening if you see that around half to 2/3 of the bar is filled. Okay, Paladin Gate 2-1, you need to bring Purify on Light Shock. Light Shock preferred because of Process Immunity. And Purify, Cleanse on Holy Protection. Let's go in. Stack up Luminary, Magic Stream until the very end. Start with attack buff, identity buff. That applies branding. It's a whole damage check until 900. Paralysis. And just guard in the front. I'll just tank it with God's Decree here. I want to shield people during this. The center circle is paralysis. And people try to tank that. The lines on the outside are push. You don't want to be at the front or the sides because they keep doing damage and inflict paralysis as well. Once he goes to the center, we're at 900 bars. That's why he went to the center. We're stacking up. So before you spacebar in, attack buff, branding applied is best. And most important, shield, because we're going to get hit by the first few waves here. Everyone shielded up. I have attack buff and branding in. I'm going to trust the people and use attack buff branding once more. That allows me to use awakening. So now we're shielded throughout this. Now, someone messed up. So I think my people are dancing. So I used the Shiny Sacred Bomb, but it was not my turn. So it's going to lead to a potential accident. We're all gathered up at the center. So the ones that spawn around us. Fine. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. That was not too bad. But someone did mess up there. You're supposed to chain it. I mean, I think it was the third one. He didn't use it correctly. They died. I guess they were too close. Again, damage check. You want to push as much as you can here. The slices in the front. What I do is try to get shields in, God's Decree this part, and then go to the back. Go to the back. God's Decree in order to shield anyone who happens to get hit by the slices. Watch his hand. It's white, so it's going to be a fake one. I apply attack buff and branding. So that Destroyer does have the buffs. And then renew the attack buff, renew the branding as I get in. So I tank this using the push immunity from identity buff and then followed up with God's Decree. So I don't get knocked and I can tank the damage as well. .360 just guard. I just use God's Decree and then I go to the back. I do get pushed because I go to the side a bit. This one's going to be real. I'm in position. Keep applying brand attack buff. Keep applying. And note that you're holding Awakening until he goes to the center. I use my identity preemptively because I'm going to use Awakening soon. Kind of a late Awakening, but that's because I wanted to profit the most out of the identity. And then you... sometimes Awakening's not enough. Like, there's a center area that keeps inflicting damage. If people try to tank that part, then not even Awakening might be enough. So that's why I also provide God's Decree. And note that I used Holy Protection beforehand so that it comes back for this moment. The moment the last flames enter Kazeros. I should have cleansed. But I didn't. Oh, I don't know why I didn't cleanse. Oh, maybe I didn't bring Purify by mistake. Oh, I think there was a run like that where I forgot to bring Purify. Yeah, maybe that's why. But I would have a Holy Protection at the end right there. That would have been the right timing. So here, you want to note, when he goes to the center, he's going to slam like a window. Creates an orb in the center. You want to watch where his direction was when he was doing that. And you want to go to the other side. If you don't have the eye, then it's sort of a damage window here. So I'm applying brand attack buff here. And then the guy who got the eye is going to lead him. So you should have gone over there. This side is might be dangerous. Like in TFM, you don't want to do that. In hard mode, you can tank the pizza, so it's okay, kind of. For this part, it's a damage window. It's kind of awkward because of these blue telegraphs. Of course, you don't want to step on that. Once the first line explodes, you can spacebar in to keep doing stagger like this, what I did. And then we're gonna get the pizza explosion, but here's what the guy who got the eye didn't do correctly. He should have led it to the very edge of the map, because otherwise, like if he's here, then people can just tank him, can just stand front back and keep doing damage on Kazeros. But since he didn't lead him all the way to the edge, we don't have that neat damage window. I just tank it using Wrath of God with that shielding I had planted beforehand. Then he sucks us to the center. I have Awakening. So since I didn't use it beforehand, because I had available here, but since I was using Identity, I didn't use it here right away. But that's okay, because I can just use it Awakening here. Attack buff, branding. I'm not the target, so I go to the back and use Awakening there. Identity buff. T skill. The clash is done. Moves to the center. And we have the stagger check. And we move back to the center. Don't be at the back. Now it's the chestnut stagger. So before that, here is a shield pattern. Here. Because he's going to land, and there's going to be blue telegraphs, and then he's going to dash, and that inflicts a bit of damage. So you want to keep your people shielded for this. Not just for this, but also this part. Now if you did enough damage, you're going to go straight to the center. And this is a whole damage check while you're doing stagger, right? I fit in a Holy Sword before going to my safe spot. If your damage is fast, you can also use Hyper here. If you have Awakening available, of course. So note that we used Shandi 3. So we're gonna use Shandi +1 soon, right? And my Awakening was ticking down. It's because we did the stagger really fast too. So I'm trying to get my Awakening in to make the best out of my identity. Note that this is a shield pattern. So this whole thing is a shield pattern. So here, like before this, like these chestnuts, like they gather around you and then they explode, right? This can inflict a lot of damage, so you need to keep your people shielded. I've seen people die to that. And then this part, you dodge. This one's a one-shot. You don't want to tank that. And then this part, when the chestnut explodes, that also damage. People try to tank it. You need to provide them with shield. That's why I have Holy Protection plus God's Decree going in. And then I use Awakening. So my Awakening did fit in right just in time, right before the +1 Shandi occurred. So I did get my Awakening reset. I'm just spamming skills. Now use Awakening here. That's standard, right? Like people generally won't die. I don't think I remember seeing anyone die to this. It could happen though, but like people do expect Awakening Shield here, so it's just best if you can provide it. You'll also have your Awakening refunded anyways after the Shandi +1. It's great if you can use it here. Sometimes I don't use it, of course, if I have like full gauge and I just don't want to waste the identity. So as soon as he lands, attack buff and branding are already in, right? With the identity buff. You dash towards the direction where he's headed. Stick to it. Stagger. You want to be careful when you're using Holy Sword on Paladin. So, because Holy Sword, when you use it, it moves you slightly backwards. But you want everyone to be in the same exact spot for this part. So what I tend to do usually is Holy Sword into Executioner Sword. That allows me to, like, if Holy Sword rebounds me backwards, then Executioner Sword moves me forward, right? But I saved it because the stagger check was already done. But I should have just, like, moved forward instead of casting an extra skill. That could have been dangerous. There's a whole damage window, so I use my stimulant. So I didn't have Awakening either available yet. And my previous identity expired. Damage window. Note, this is a very important shield pattern. Here, you need to provide God's Decree. And all the DPSs need to be stacked up near Kazeros. Like, this is too far. You need to have everyone stacked up. Especially on Paladin, because the God's Decree range isn't as big as, like, say, Starry Night. They need to be DR'd during this, because this rainfall hurts, like, a lot. Hurts a lot. I've seen a lot of people die to this. They need to be closer than this. If you God's decreed on Kazeros and your DPS was standing here and they died, it's their fault. They're supposed to be here, okay? If they blame you for their death when they were standing here, tell them it's their fault. They need to be standing close. So you see, that's the combo I just talked about. Holy Sword into Executioner Sword. That allows you to get back to the center. And use Awakening, Identity. No, this is a really fast damage party, so we already phased him down to 0. Of course, in the early weeks of you guys doing it, you'll have to see more of the desert phase. For this pattern, we call it a star trash pattern. Best if you all gathered up in the center, in front of him, and then you move out. Because there are some puddles that spawn below people, and if you gather up all together, you can bait them towards here. And then it's best to move either 11 or 1 o'clock, like this. Someone died from that. But they don't need to revive, because in hard mode, you get rest. When you enter 2-2. If we add and dropped it down to 0, this will be another damage window, of course, like 7 seconds long or something. Discard. And for this one too, just in case people fail to discard for whatever reason, you want to try and provide some sort of shield. Just in case. It doesn't hurt. Like this guy failed, for instance. I think. Or were they already low? No, they failed it. Yeah, they were max HP and they failed it. If he didn't go away right now, I would have used attack buff, branding, T skill into perhaps hyper. If you think that you're gonna kill Kazeros before the 3 cones mech. Otherwise, you can also use awakening, just straight up awakening, because that protects them from all the telegraphs on the ground. I've seen people die to that too. Now for gates 2-2 and 3, you can go back to your gate 1 setup pretty much. Take off the purify, take off the cleanse, take the DER. What was it? Extra shielding, was it? Yeah. Light Shock, heavily recommended because there's a lot of process patterns in 2-2 and 3. And they told me to take Whirlwind because we have enough damage anyways. Stacking up Luminary Magic Stream, going in. He stands still at the beginning, so attack buff, identity buff, T-skill. Get all the buffs going. This is a really dangerous pattern. You cannot status immune these cones. If you get hit by them, you get trapped. You cannot status immune them, and these circles will like knock you around. The best way to deal with this pattern is to not be at the back, don't be at the sides. Front side is best view, so like you want to be on the bottom half. And then when he lands, he's gonna do slam and X, and that does hella damage. It's very important for the support not to get caught in this, so that you can provide protection to people who do get caught. If you get caught, that might cost someone's life. 360 Pizza, one of his tamer patterns. Follow him. I use Awakening here. You follow him, and when he stops, you want to use a Process Immune skill. So what did I use? Attack buff. And you can still attack him during this, but it's rough. Use God's Decree. Yeah, something. And then inner explosion first, and then outer explosion. So you can just like spacebar in and just tank the inner explosion, or you can just go in after it explodes. It's like really fast, so you have to use spacebar anyways, or you just tank it using God's Decree. Force Clash, no explosion. If it did explode, you'd have to be ready for God's Decree there. Supports are not assigned to do counters in this part because your job is to provide buffs. If the DPSs try to make you do the counters, tell them, no, I'm giving buffs. You guys are DPSing. One guy is supposed to do... You assign one guy to do all the counters, basically. I mean, if you're progging, though, like, maybe everyone participates, but... Just to make sure. But the last one, you do participate. So this one's a co-op. So you just do try to get the counter in. Dangerous pattern. Just guard. Just guard. And you, like, don't be scared too much of the circles. They detonate a bit later. Okay? So deal with the just guard first, and then spacebar out of the circle if it just happens to, like, appear beneath you like this. Right? You have enough time to spacebar out. It's very important for the support to not get caught by this. If you fail to just guard, you're gonna get grabbed, like this guy here. But this does hella damage. If you're trapped, you cannot provide shielding to your party mates. Here, I have not been trapped, so I can provide God's Decree, like this. Very important for the support not to get trapped. If you're unsure, just use Time Stop, okay? That's the 4 pattern. First one's Push. Second one's Paralysis. Third one's Just Guard. And throughout this pattern, like, it's best if you gather up. If you, like, move slightly because you get paralyzed, like this, like, if you get pushed, if you get paralyzed, don't try to move. Because he'll try to target the people who did get caught by this. It happens a lot. But if you fail to just guard, then the last co-op doesn't happen. So, like, don't try to move. Tofu pattern. Castella or Tofu. Push him unit. The way to deal with it is basically when these things disappear, you spacebar. But in the case of Paladin, you have God's Decree. I do that. If you're really close to his head, then you won't get knocked because you're gonna dash through you. But sometimes it's hard to find that window. So just try to like push immune it. 5 pattern. Series of aggroed patterns towards one person. If you're the target, you can try to like hold the aggro with God's Decree and all, so that the head doesn't turn too much. This one you gather up, and then you spacebar out. So in this case, best if I had time stop and I just time stopped it. Like that's what I would do if I were TFMing, of course. What's important here is you like when you try to move out, you look at where the safe spots are, and you try to go there. So I spacebar to the wrong spot, so I got trapped. So this is really bad. You don't want the support to get caught by these patterns. It's really, really important that you don't get caught. 360 pizza. Waffle. Paladin's kind of fat, so it's hard to find this safe spot for that. It's very narrow. This one you just God's Decree. Provide shielding, God's Decree. 300 line pattern. I have hyper ready. And the gauge bar is far from being filled. Attack buff. T skill. I was waiting for T skill. And then I use hyper, right? Hyper. Hyper allows you to like protect your party mates. They won't die for 30 seconds, right? Because if you get caught the wrong way by some of these patterns, you might die in the outskirts. Happens a lot. Go from 11 to 7 slowly, watching the patterns. For this Just Guard, you can also just hyper during the Just Guard to cancel one of them. Like you'd use just hyper here. Or what I tend to do is, because there's a lot of debris on the ground, it makes it hard to just guard properly. That's what leads to people to fail. So what I like to do is I use a process skill, like for instance God's Decree. It also provides shielding to my party mates. So I'll be using God's Decree, and then I just guard. So that I'm not paralyzed and unable to do the process. So see, the other party, 2 people died. If they had hyper, they would have lived. See, one guy over here, he died, but he lived because of hyper. Because of my hyper. Helps reduce risk. Hyper 300 is really good. Imposter pattern. Find the imposter. This one's really easy in non-TFM, of course. And hard mode. Angry Bird. You want to watch his direction and try to locate 11 or 5. 11. I'm going to go over there. That's the wrong spot. So the time stopped. Dangerous pattern, dangerous pattern. Be careful, be careful. Woo! Apply God's Decree to give multi-hit to free that guy. Although he's not on my party. In case you have trouble with this pattern, what you want to do is, like, first off, always try to counter the first one. Because there's cases where people don't have counters ready. Always try to counter the first one. That's what I did there. And then if you have trouble reading the color on him, look at the hand. Look at the hand. If you look at the hand, his hand keeps changing color. That's what you want to look at. Because the body can be confusing sometimes. If you look closely, it's yellow. So we're going to counter if it's yellow. See, the ground is yellow. So we countered. So nobody tried to counter there. If I didn't counter there, people would have died. Because it's confusing. 'Cause I was confused at first. It was hard to find like whether it's blue or yellow for certain. But yeah, once I noticed that the hand is where you're supposed to look at. Made it way easier. Force Clash, damage window. If it fails, you're ready to God's Decree. Pac-Man. Pac-Man Stagger. You can push immune these things, but it's double tick push because there's a upward motion and there's a downward motion, and they're both push. So be careful if you're trying to push immune the Pac-Mans. And then at the end, he's going to do a frontward laser towards one target. And you want to give God's Decree, shield to your party mates just in case. 4 pattern. You all stack up. The second one is process. The third one's just guard. Fourth one's co-op. The clash. Someone picked it up. They didn't fail. If they failed, you're going to be ready to God's Decree again. The 5 pattern. The aggroed person was on the back that case. You always want to be ready for just guards. And this is one of the reasons why when you're casting Awakening, you look at the pattern first. Because this pattern cancels Awakenings. Okay? And you always want to be ready to just guard. Because he'll do this like out of the blue. And it's really fast. But if you get hit by it, it can hurt a lot. Look at this guy. Almost dead. See? Almost dead. Pac-Man again. So this is actually a 6-man run because we have 2 people dead. See, I got God's Decree and then I got out of the laser. I think it was aimed at me. L'Oreal. So the landing is push, and then there's paralysis waves that spawn from him. So you can just push immune when he lands, and then paralysis when the waves appear. Or you just go to the back like that. This one's tricky. So when you're about to hit orbs, you want to paralysis immune, which I failed to. Luckily, I didn't get stunned. I don't know how I didn't get stunned there by the rays. One important thing to note is that you cannot cleanse the people at the center. There's apparently a bug where if you cleanse them, they get hit by all 3 lasers and they die. Apparently, I haven't seen that myself, but apparently it happens. But yeah, don't try to purify, cleanse the people at the center. But yeah, it's important for the support to not get caught by this again. Like, at the moment where this would have reached me, I should have tried to do some sort of process move. I got hit. God's Decree on the center. That's why you don't want to get hit. Because the exploding pizzas will hurt the people who did get pulled. And there will be at least one guy who gets pulled because it's like kind of a rough pattern. This one, if you get hit by the yellow telegraphs, it's attack power debuff, but I don't think that does anything on supports, so it's fine to tank it on supports. But like, there's no reason to really. They just dodge them. But it's not a damage window for DPSs. So we hit full gauge. So I was counting in my head probably during this run. I was saving my awakening. See, it came back here, and I noticed that we have like a quarter gauge left. I stopped. I didn't use my awakening. I was waiting for this moment. So you need to be calculating these things at the back of your mind. You need to be taking note of what the gauge situation is and where you're at in the raid. Like, there might be an upcoming pattern, like a time attack, damage check, or like 300 line pattern, which will interrupt the gauge filling up. Like, you want to take into account these things. But the most important thing, you want to have that awakening ready for the full gauge pattern. This because, and provide it here, because for the people who do have the bars on their heads, they need to gather up. But it's hard to keep gathering up while dodging these things. So what we do is we receive support shielding, awakening shield particularly, and we just tank everything while standing on the top side. Everyone who doesn't have the bar will keep away because the puddles spawn below people, beneath people. If you don't have Awakening available for this pattern, you'll just have to try your best using Holy Protection and God's Decree. And the reason why we aim it to the front side, the top side, is because it's better field of vision. Forced Clash. Someone did go grab it, I think. It's very dangerous because if they failed it, I think people could have gone knocked into the pit up there. That's why we lead it to the front. I hate this pattern. It's hard to dodge because it explodes really fast. But if you didn't get knocked or touched by these things on the ground, then you should be ready to counter. He's gonna appear, counter, and then he's gonna do an extra slam at the end. So you want to dodge that. That's what I did there. L'Oreal, God's Decree, and then just chain process immunity. That's why I recommend Light Shock for these kind of things. But like overall, there's just so much process immunity that needed. Just guard. The moment the bar disappears, you want to press G. That one. And we're in time attack right now. So since we don't have fear of full gauge situations, I can just use my Awakening whenever. See, I don't get up because like I don't want to switch my position during this because we're already gathered up. Because if I try to get up and like go over here, then like you might try to just guard my direction. I might fail it. It's best if you just stand together. Now the issue is because we are 2 people down, stagger for the last part might not be enough. God's Decree to tank the push, and then so again L'Oreal. You look at L'Oreal. The third one, he lands, so I use God's Decree to push immune. And then I just chain Light Shock into Light of Judgment for the process immunity. And then always be ready for just guards, as I said. These are really fast, really sudden. If you get hit by one, it's likely that you can get hit by something else too. And these hurt hella. And also, they cancel everything, including Awakenings. So you don't want to get caught. You don't want to get caught mid-Awakening. So you always want to watch the patterns first before you cast Awakening. It's not just that one. There's a few others that where like not using Awakening might catch you. Might not be good. Stagger, and then the bubbles. Bubble pattern, God's Decree. Just provide shielding and push immunity to yourself. Spotlight, Spotlight. I'm it. So what I do, because I only play supports, so this is what I do. I just save my DR skill, and when it spawns, I just DR myself. And it's either going to be a just guard or a counter, right? If it's a counter, it's going to go through me, but I'll be okay because I have process immunity. And I just counter it. So that's the easy way to do it. Like, if you have the light, don't panic. Just stay position. Once the ghost appears, just use DR. If it goes through you, it's a counter. Be ready to counter. If it does a just guard, then you have to do the just guard in where the Kazeros ghost spawned. And then afterwards, someone failed. Like when they spawn, the direction is locked, so you just move out of it. Like that. And now we have the 300, the last pattern, not the 300. The last pattern of 2-3. The sacrifice pattern. So you have to do the stagger check with 5 people. So you have to be really good with the stagger. There's a co-op counter here, so that's why I left my Executioner Sword. Usually I don't leave my 2 blue skills for this, because like they're also my stagger skills, right? I just try to use them right off the bat, and then have other people do the counter. But in this case, since we are 5 people, I wasn't sure. So I just left my executioner sword. So I blew my holy sword for the stagger, and then so again, watch what I'm doing. Just pizza first, but I use my holy sword. But this is gonna push me, right? So what do? I spacebar, and the second one, I use God's Decree, because the stagger's tight, so I'm trying to like push in more skills. But you have to be wary of the pizza slices. God's Decree again for the push. Spacebar for the last one. And we already had the stagger done, so Destroyer. Nice Destroyer. Tons of stagger. Again, God's Decree and 2 process immunity. Waffle. There's a very narrow spot. This is one of the patterns where, yeah, this is another pattern that cancels your awakening. At least I got the identity, but the shield didn't go in, right? This is why you always want to pay attention to what pattern he's doing before you're casting your awakening. So you got cancelled. Just guard. So once you get hit, you can't see the second just guard. So you have to like get a good feel for when it's coming. And you don't want to stand in front for that one. If you get hit, it causes a big X to occur in that location, and it hurts a lot. Trash just guard pattern. Just guard. That was, oh my god, that was so tight. So again, don't panic. Don't panic. Do the just guard first, and then move out. I could have gotten caught there because of the wall. And we had enough damage to push it. Good. I mean, the damage was not the issue, the stagger was, but since we got that out of the way. Oh no, it's a wipe. But yeah, like, yeah. With the hidden Armin, we're good. Yep. Valkyrie Gate 2-1. So skill choices, Purify on your brand, Decree recommended for process immunity, and where is it? Blessing and Salvation, Purify, in this case, Cleanse. And yeah, good to go. Attack buff, identity buff, T skill, already landed. And I tend to use one set of the 2 red skills before he backsteps, and then I use the second set after. I know that it's a pattern where he's still, because he likes to move around a lot, so sometimes you miss. The second identity buff in, you want to provide shielding during this circle. It's a 950 pattern. Shield this. Add shield from my secondary attack buff. So that's a change that we had with the bounce patch. And then you stay at the back. So there's a huge damage check. T skill when it comes back off cooldown. Identity buff renewed. You dropped it down to 900. He's going to the center. I'm party 2, so I'm going to the right. Brand applied. Attack buff reapplied. I use spacebar. But it's okay. Because I have so they changed her area to include CC block. So even though I use spacebar, I'm fine dashing to the back. But we have one person caught here. And these guys are lost too. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna awaken. And I cleanse them using Air of Protection. See? So like it was scuffed. This guy got caught. But I spacebarred in. I think I spacebarred. So although I had the Area of Protection for Area of Salvation for CC block additionally, status immunity. I used Awakening, so that allows them to not die first off. And I use Cleanse right away. And then I'm caught. But there's one guy who didn't get caught. They cleanse me. Attack buff. And I use my Area of Salvation. Although I should have used Shiny Sacred Bomb there. That was my turn. It was kind of scuffed from the beginning. So yeah. In the end, that was alright. Important there to... So you want to pre-apply brand and attack buff, and then you want to have your people shielded if possible, but this like was scuffed beginning. So I think I panicked. So this guy should have been shielded beforehand. So that's why I want to get shield beforehand, just in case, because they're going to tank all these things, right? So I used Awakening. Cleanse. And throughout this, you want to keep applying attack buff and branding and identity buff if possible. So yeah, identity buff going in. Although it's late. But that's because the accidents happened. Yeah, that's good enough though. It lasts through the entire phase. Use attack buff initially. So I needed to use one skill quickly to renew Magic Stream. Luminary already ticked off. Oh, nice. Okay. Ring around the rosy. Attack buff's in. Branding's now in. Attack buff renewed. Jet kick. Jet kick. You don't want to be at his front or back. Careful when you're at his back. I spacebar out. And I area salvation in. After he lands. Front, back, front. You don't want to be at the front. Could grab you. Keep maintaining uptime. Went faced. I pre-planted Truth Decree. That's one of the great aspects about Truth Decree because it lingers. You can pre-plant it. It's a fake one, but I don't go to the opened up area, because I have the new Area of Salvation. So I can just CC status immune it like this. I can status immune the wide CC attack. Series of assorted punches in the front, and then the slashes. Nice if I can use shielding throughout. I'll just tank it in the front using Area of Salvation. It procs my shield, so everyone has extra shield from that too. Constant damage window, so you keep the identity attack buff momentum going. So I think it's on me, so I just dash to the 3 o'clock location using Area of Salvation and move out. You don't want to get hit by that. I think I missed my brand. No, I guess not. Attack buff, branding in, and I renew the identity buff, and then I use Awakening as he goes to the center. That protects people from all the damage they can take here. And then my cleanse was slightly late. So like when you're doing this, you want to make sure that your cleanse skill, or area protection in this case, is available for this moment right here. So when the flames all converge, you should be using Holy Protection. But like I miscalculated it, so it wasn't available. So you want everyone to have it cleansed when they go off. Of course, they should have Purify. They should be able to take care of themselves, but it reduces risk, right? With all the mobility that I have, very easy to catch up back into the center. Back safe. Renew identity buff, because full. You go into the center. So you want to watch his direction. He's looking over here, so here is where we're headed. We're headed over here. This guy got the eye. So for the remaining people, it's sort of a damage window. Sort of. This guy got caught. Okay, so this is a very good example. So watch what you need to do when somebody's caught in your party. Right, watch. He's at the center. He's going to keep taking damage. You just give him one tick of shield /DR. That's all he needs to survive that. Okay? Then you can just go join your team. He's not gonna die. He's not gonna die. As long as you give him one tick. But you need to give him one tick. So like on Valkyrie, Area of Salvation, works. On Artist, something like Door of Illusion. On Bard, Guardian Tune, I guess is enough. Paladin, Holy Protection. Or like one tick of God's Decree. That's enough, and they'll survive it. If you don't do that, they'll die. You have to make sure you do it. So then I can go back to my team and maintain uptime and help with the stagger, right? Once this initial bar erupts, you can spacebar in and do stagger. I'm just trying to give a helping hand to whoever's caught over there. Trying to give them holy protection. That's why I kind of moved to the center. I'm not the target. I can use attack buff, branding, and then dash using my spacebar or Area of Salvation to the back. I'm waiting for the previous identity buff to run out. Dodge the blue telegraphs. Identity buff renewed. Attack buff going in. I have a lot of time because I have all that mobility to get out. Let me go back in. You want to first apply shielding because people are going to get hit by him and also the blue telegraphs. So you want to provide shielding. But you can also, for instance, pre-plant Truce Decree, assuming that he's going to step on it. Because like as long as we're all gathered up, he's going to land on it. And I also had attack buff going in. I did step on the blue telegraph explosion, but I think that's because I misstepped. It's too close. Yeah, it was too close. Now it's a damage window. While doing the stagger check, identity buff going in as much as you can. You can also use hyper here. So actually, this awakening. Oh, yeah. It's because the raid lead used Shandi in a really weird way. That's why I was like, that shouldn't be up already. So we're gonna have to do the cone damage on our own. It was kind of scuffed. So usually you use Shandi for this part, right? The +3, and then the +1 you use it for cooldown reduction afterwards. But yeah, like so I use identity buff, attack buff, shielding. What would have been best is if the raid lead used Shandi now, I could have used Awakening right before that and got to use an extra Awakening like that. Although I guess the number of Awakenings is the same because the Awakening cooldown reduction applied, so I'll have the Awakening available right after. But note that my identity is full, so as a greedy support, I'm probably not going to use the Awakening here. Because I also have the Blessings skill. I just use Blessings. Because it's not really a dangerous pattern anyways. So Blessings is fine enough in the case of Valkyrie. It's easy enough to dodge the scratches. I saw someone got stunned there. So that should not happen in the first place. But I had Blessings available for the Purify, the Cleanse. So I used it right away as soon as I saw that. And they got cleansed. And they were able to not get hit by this terrain telegraph. Otherwise, Shiny Sacred Bomb, of course. There's a whole damage window. Everything's damage window here. Attack buff. Identity buff. You want to gather up, and you want to try and use one set of each red skill during each stagger situation. It's possible, of course, because I have double stack, so I can technically like save up red skills. For you guys, I guess you use one for one stagger check and the other one for the other stagger check, something like that. Or you just pray your team has enough stagger. This part, shield. Make sure you shield party mates. Use DR. Don't just use shield. Use DR. Use area salvation. Make sure that the DPS are all gathered up. If they get hit by the red rain while standing over here, it's their fault. They need to be close to Kazeros so that the support can provide shielding. If they die, it's their fault. If you did provide God's Decree, area salvation at the center. Otherwise, this is a huge damage window. While you're doing stagger check and all, you keep uptime. Maintain uptime. Use as much identity buffs as possible. T skill as possible. Again, counter. And if you're not the target and you're ready to... So always, before you do these kind of things, renew attack buff and branding, right? Now the trash star mech. Start at the center and then move out like that. To 1 o'clock or 11 o'clock usually is the safest way. You can use T skill here, you can use identity here. Usually I use T skill and then use identity on the second one. I mean, it depends on the identity situation. I had stimulant left over, so I chose to use identity on the first one and also on the second one. There should be enough damage with the Kadan as well. Best if you can provide shielding during this as well, just in case they fail. The other people fail. And you too, maybe. So I used blessings. And we're done. Unfortunately, this group pushed too fast, so I'm not able to showcase more of the desert phase. So for gate 2-2 and 3, you go back to your gate 1 setup pretty much. Note that, again, this post-bounce patch, some of the tripods are different. You take off Purify, you take off Cleanse. Yeah, let's get going. Always try to renew Luminary Magic Stream until the very end. Attack buff, identity buff, T skill, always, starting rotation. And then red skills to get the gauge, force clash, process immunity, just not get sucked in. Identity buff renewed. Follow him. The tornado. The nado. You want to use a process immune skill at the very end. That's why I used Truth's Decree when he stopped. T skill. Red skills going in. You want to watch. Safe spot. And I use... So at the end of that, after the 2 sets of cones, he emits a laser. And if you look carefully, you'll notice that I have a target on myself, which means he's gonna aim the laser at me, so I'm ready for it. And that's why I used area for push immunity, because it does knock you. Brand attack buff. Just guard. Always be ready for just guards. Always watch the pattern before you use awakening. Make sure that it's a pattern where you're safe to use awakening. He has a lot of patterns that cancel. Attack buff, branding, T skill. So apart from the designated counter person, You're doing damage, and so your job as support is to provide buffs. You're not doing the counter. Don't make the DPSs make you do the counter. You're there for buffing. Because otherwise, this is a damage window. 3 blue, so it's a stagger. You don't do the counter. Attack buff. I'm probably going to use Awakening. Yep. Ah, fat toe. Identity buff renewed. This one, I use area in order to provide shielding to my party mates, although they already had shielding from the Awakening. I think that's Awakening Shield. Yeah, Awakening Shield. So, again, these bars push you, knock you in the air, and they also deal a lot of damage. So if you're doing this without Awakening, you want to try and protect your party mates, although they will try to dodge it. And also we're using DR for your own push immunity. And then in this case, we have a slice open. That means that if you try to tank this, it will hurt a lot. Best if you go to that slice. And also, if you try to tank this without status immunity, you're going to get trapped, which is why if you already burnt your spacebar while trying to dodge these things, you want to use Shiny Sacred Bomb on yourself. I use spacebar in this case. Time attack still going. 5. I think it's on me. So I just try to like not move the head too much. And once I noticed, I just used area and then renewed my attack buff using leap, abusing that push immunity. Tofu pattern. I just use area, free DR plus push immunity. Just guard. When the bar disappears, press G. Don't be like that guy. Just guard. Ah, I failed it. But if you do fail it, you have to look at where he's aiming. It's a 270 cone. Like his back is safe. There's a cone on his back that's safe, but otherwise it's all just guard. So you need to know the timing on this in case you're not able to react to this properly. I wasn't able to react, but I noticed that his head is faced this way, which means that up to this place, everything is just guard territory. So I look at him and do just guard. And I go to his back. Because if you get hit by one, that means you can't see the telegraphs for the rest of them. Dangerous pattern, dangerous pattern. Don't get it, don't get it. Very important that the support does not get caught in this, so that you can provide shielding for the people who do get caught. We have hit 300 bars. I have everything available. Attack buff, brand, T-skill. And then I use... before that, so I was trying to fill this bar so that I can use identity and then replenish my bar with the awakening. That's what I did. So as to not waste identity. Then we're trying to do the stagger. Attack buff. My people are safe. Because I gave them hyper. They won't die like this. No, one guy died. No. Was that deathless if that didn't die? Then the stagger check, T skill, identity buff renewed, just guard. We completed the pattern, the mech. Damage is really fast. Let's try to do the Elgic pattern. Again, look at the hand. Look at the hand. The hand tells you the color. It's yellow right now. You only look at the third one. Yellow. So if it's yellow, I'm countering, right? It's black. No, don't counter. Blue, black, don't counter. Just go to the back. Safe spot. Find the imposter. Minority report. Angry Bird. It's hard to calculate Angry Bird. When Angry Bird happens, you want to look at his position, his direction. You want to find 11 o'clock or 5 o'clock. This is why it's scuffed if he does Angry Bird while close to a wall. Like some of the safe spots will not be accessible. In which case, you kind of have to do like a... So, apart from 11 and 5, I think it's a 1/3 chance that it's a safe spot. Yeah, so you have to either react really quickly or be lucky. But best case scenario, you can find 11 or 5 o'clock. Otherwise, you spacebar. I mean, not spacebar. Time stop. Brand, attack buff, identity buff. That's the counter, teleport counter. Some classes have an easy time dealing with it, but unfortunately, Valkyrie, it's kind of tough to do it easily. Area, so I don't get pushed by the initial pattern of that. So we call this the 4 pattern, because it's a set of 4 moves after the waffle. So right here. So this one's slash and push. So process push. The second one's push there. And then second, when he appears, it's process. And then just guard. And if someone did succeed the just guard, then he gives us a co-op. If you succeed that, short damage window. The bomb. So you want to go to the opposite side of where the bomb is headed. Like this. That allows you free space where you don't have to interact with the just guard. And you want to provide shielding just in case to your party mates, of course, during that. Because if like the bomb is in a scuffed place, they might have to tank the bomb just guard. The scuffed 360, like basically just push immune and try to shield people. You'll just have to memorize the sequence of attacks he does. But yeah, that's like a different 360. Oh, this one's a really dangerous pattern. So basically, if you're doing TFM, generally the idea is to not interact with this pattern at all. Like you try to get away from it. But in hard mode, it's like whatever, right? What you do is, as a support, your job is to shield people, stop them from dying. Everything hurts here. All these explosions, the 2 butterfly wings, and then like in TFM, there's an additional orb that follows you around. And then there's a co-op at the end like that. This one, you have to spacebar out when he blinks. Blink, spacebar out. If someone gets hit, he's going to do a follow-up like that. I remember this one. It was scuffed. Like, this guy was trapped. And then he's like, frick you in particular. Like, so this was the big Just Guard cone, but he aimed only at that one person. Somehow he survived. Oh, and then at the end, you want to dodge that. I think I got hit by that. Oh, by mistake. Double Just Guard. So, easiest way to deal with this is to just get out of it entirely. Like that. And it's possible, especially on Valkyrie, because you have all that mobility anyways. And he's going to teleport somewhere random at the end. So this is not really a damage window in the first place. Like all these circles and all the just guards you have to do and dodging. This is not a damage window. And look how he teleports at the end. Random spot. It's not a damage window. So you're free to just move out of it. 360 pizza. This is the okay. 3 dashes into a counter, but the counter is the direction happens where he was headed. This is a pattern that only happens in 2-3. So this is where Valkyrie excels, guys, because with the Valkyrie balance patch, area now goes through bosses, which makes it hella easy for Valkyrie to follow up to Kazeros. See, no one's in position right now, but Valkyrie is already there. I spacebarred in. Area to his front, and then counter. Easy. Tofu pattern. Spacebar through it. The yellow telegraphs. Dodge, 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 dodge. Not a damage window for DPSs either. That's the full gauge pattern. So in this case, I actually don't have Awakening available. But that's like because this is a experienced party. So they probably know what to do even without the Awakening. So I'm like, I just used Awakening without thinking too much about the full gauge pattern. Yeah, like what you do if you don't have Awakening is basically this. You just like provide shielding and try to push immune all the things that happen. Or if you get knocked like that, just like stay on the ground. But yeah, most important is you shield your party mates so that they don't have to suffer from too much damage from all the telegraphs and the puddles. And if you do have the bar on you, like in this case I did, you're just standing there at the top side of the boss. It's the rendezvous spot. Yeah, I'm just tanking it. That allowed the 2 light people to be gathered at the end. And then we're aiming the explosion topside, ground break topside. Time attack. Now you have to be careful, because if you get thrown to this spot, you die. You have to be aware of the pit. He was about to do the just guard pattern, I think. But the time attack ending canceled it. The bomb, so we go to the opposite side, and yeah, because he keeps slashing people, you want to try and provide protection if you can. Again, that's the counter, see? So you have to counter where he was headed. Ah. Yeah, it was kind of hard to tell the direction, so I guess I wasn't sure. Yeah, like here. Like he was facing a wall. It was kind of awkward. And like these guys failed to counter it too. If you get the light, so like generally we're going ×3 ×3+1 positions for this. But if you get the light as the first person, you want to stand still, or else you're gonna lose track of which Kazeros clone you have to fight. I stood still, but I wasn't sure. So best case scenario is so it's this guy. I use some sort of process immune skill. Generally, it should be my area of salvation. So that I don't get knocked by this. Yeah, like me trailing like that. But luckily, I was able to react. That was the counter. If you fail that, you die. And now you're just dodging Kazeros clones while renewing Luminary Magic Stream. Provided protection, shield, a good measure, in case people get hit. And the fourth one is where he reappears. Attack buff branding, identity buff. Teleport counter. It's pretty fast, so hard to react to. Want to go to his back, or you just push him in the first landing and then process him in the remainder. We are missing one person, so we're gonna have to do stagger pretty well. Just guard. Push immune the pizza. Counter. And that's enough. Identity buff in, T-skill in. Four. Just guard and then counter. Should be going soon. Double just guard pattern. I just move out. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. Attack buff and branding renewed. Counter. Someone else did it. Nice. And we're done. So after this, you die, we revive, and then hit an Armin. GG. Yep. Okay, let's dive into Bard Gate 2-1. You want to take Purify on your brand of choice. And I pulled a run where I'm using Soundholic. Now, I was using Sound Shock plus Soundholic, but it's not a great combo because, yeah, the short duration of the brand on Sound Shock doesn't pair well with the duration of Soundholic. But I tried. I've been experimenting a lot, so like I've been trying Sound Shock Prelude again or Sound Shock Soundholic. I think I might try to go for Sonatina Soundholic next time. But yeah, you want Purify. And yeah, in this run, I think I'm using the gauge gain setup on Soundholic. Identity setup. I don't recommend taking the staggered tree, but I guess if your team is really bad with the staggered checks, you can consider. Anyways, let's dive in. So, Luminary Mass Stream loaded before entering the raid. I keep mentioning this because it's really important. Although, yeah, I did lose Luminary, but at least I have a Magic Stream. So, attack buff, Heavenly Tune applied from afar. Identity buff. That applies branding as well. Attack buff. And just guard while casting Soundholic. And here, Rhapsody, because people will try to tank the inner circle and provide them with shielding. Identity buff, reapplied. Damage really fast. Already at 900, he's going to go straight to the center. So we're party 2. I'm going to the right. Alright, you want to keep people shielded when they go in. Guardian tune in. And I start with the Awakening. Renew, attack buff, and branding. It's kind of tough on Bard, of course. Especially because I have Sound Shock. And I use the Shiny Sacred Bomb for the individual circles. Let's see that again. That's the around. So like for that one, it's the third guy who's supposed to throw, but I wasn't sure because I'm not sure if I can trust him. So I tried space barring. So yeah, the third guy didn't throw, I think. So I was right in making that judgment. Space bar. Don't trust the teammates. They got trapped. So I freed him using Shiny Sacred Bomb there. That was my turn anyways. Yeah, you want to make these judgments. Like you also have CC block from Guardian Tune, of course, if you have that available. And last one, you just spacebar out or spacebar in. We didn't push too much damage during that though. Attack buff. 3 bubbles in. Series of sort of punches in the front. I got tanked everything. I use Guardian Tune. These people are trying to tank it in the front, especially. And spacebar. It's not getting knocked by that. Attack buff. Branding. Fake. So I was holding on my 3 bubble. I want to know what it was first. Attack buff. 3 bubbles. Spacebar out of it, because he's doing punches in my direction. It's hard to find that window, but you just spam spacebar. Or like a skill. Inside safe. Rhapsody. Spacebar in. I should have given them a 1 bubble heal earlier, but I'm greedy with the buffs. 3 bubble. Awakening. So that's the timing where you need to have Awakening going in. Best if it's a bit earlier than that. And then I followed up with a heal, because they needed it, of course. So I've purified my Sound Shock. That's what got me purified there. Attack buff. Branding. As we go in. It's like generally hard to maintain uptime on bards too well. But you make the most out of your identity, especially. The direction is opposite from where he was initially facing. There's also somewhat of a damage window. And then we're going to the wall. T-skill in, and you spacebar in after the initial bar explodes. And you want to keep chaining process immune skill so that you don't get sucked in towards the center. Like if you're unsure, just like auto attack towards the outside. Get pulled in. Not it. Attack buff. Branding, and then just spacebar right away. It's very tight. If you're unsure, just spacebar first. Towards the back. And then renew your buff and brand. Sidestep. The explosion. Sidestep. Now you want to shield first. When the music in. Shielding from the initial punches that he does when he lunges. Also in case they get caught by the blue telegraphs. Damage window throughout this thing. Wait, that was a really early Shandi. So that messed up with my awakening timings because I would have wanted to use one before the Shandi +1. But like that, it's also okay because that was kind of tight. I could have died there. But yeah, like having the awakening running through this part especially is nice because the chestnuts when they explode on the ground, they do a lot of damage. If you don't have awakening shield applied there, of course you want to like provide Guardian Tune, Rhapsody and such. This part as well with a music. Just trying to build as much gauge while maintaining attack buff. I got like basically 2 bubbles, and then if I use awakening for the scratch, I'll have 3 bubbles. 3. It's customary to use awakening here. Now you already have Heavenly Tune applied, so all I need to do is apply branding. One guy got caught. So I threw Shiny Sacred Bomb on him. See? Always be aware of your party mate's state. Now we're going to the center. In front of him, stack up. Oh yeah, I remember. I did too much TFM, so I kind of that was like a reflex. Because in TFM, that's what you're supposed to do. But That was dangerous. I could have gotten caught. I guess not dangerous, but yeah, that meg is entirely different in hard mode. Here is a important shield pattern. Just use Rhapsody if possible, because like sometimes the damage goes through the winter music. It goes on bard if you pair winter music plus guardian tune. It's generally enough, just in case. Gather up. There's a whole damage window of identity buff running already. T skill running. Ran. And I just use my stimulant because he's about to die anyways. I had the eye, so I lead him up. Attack buff. Renewed into Rhapsody. See how they're all lumped up together? That's where the DPSs are supposed to be in order to receive proper shielding from the supports. If they're over here and they die, it's their fault. They need to be all gathered up like this to be protected from the rain, the red rain. Generally safer. It's safer to go 1 o'clock after gathering at the center, like at the front, and then you go 1 o'clock or 11 o'clock, because there's the puddles appear beneath you initially. I pre-applied attack buff and T skill, and the identity buff. But all I have to do when he lands is brand. Or I may have timed it so that the identity buff applies branding when he appears. Try to shield people during this in case they fail. It's hard to fail, but just in case. And then in this case, we have a bit of damage needed to be done. Like, we need to do a bit of more damage. So attack buff, branding, and let's use hyper right away. Because there's a lot of telegraphs that spawn throughout this. And there can be casualties. And since like he's about to die anyways, hyper is just best used there. You don't need to use hyper, of course. Awakening shield is enough generally. But Sai had hyper left over. You don't want to get hit by that circle, you die. Oh, someone died. I guess they stepped on the circle. That's what happens. You have a bit of a damage window there, like 2 seconds. And then you go to your spot. If it's zoomed out, that means you're not it. You just stand in position, and then when you see the Tetris blocks, the blocks appear. You move out of them in such a way that you don't stand in one of them. Here. So let's watch this again. You want to provide shielding and Guardian Tune if possible during this as well. But I focus more on the buffing. So like I had winter music going in and then heavenly tune so that they have attack buff when he appears. Well, after the counter's done. And I applied branding right after. The T skill going in. And that was enough to kill him there. Good. Bard gate 2-2 and 3. So you can go back to your initial setup from gate 1. And yeah, let's go. Stacking Luminary Magic Stream. I took time stop in this run, but these days I'm just taking stimulant. Attack buff, identity buff, T skill. As we go in. Attack buff renewed. Dangerous pattern. You want to dodge everything here. Ooh. I'd use time stop. Yeah, so this is one of my earlier runs, so I'm not as experienced. What you want to do here is you want to stay in like the lower half. Makes it easier to dodge. But like this is really good that I did this. You don't want to get trapped like this guy as a support because you can't provide protection if you do get trapped. Although yeah, the time stop kind of delayed me re-entering the stage. But yeah, what I should have done here is I should have spacebarred this way. Because then I got by going this way, I got knocked into by one of the circles, additional circle, but I time stopped. But yeah, like in general, you need to be using your time stops aggressively. Counter, attack both 3 bubble. I could have gone up and just used Guardian Tune for my team as well, but since this is my earlier runs, I didn't have that kind of sense. Back safe after the Just Guards, Pac-Man pattern. I thought I was safe, but one of the Pac-Mans, I was standing in them, so I got knocked down there. The mole. I use Rhapsody to not get knocked, because when he comes out of the ground, it's a push. I shouldn't have been there. I should have gone to the front. I don't know why I did that. That's really bad. Again, this is one of my earlier runs, because I want to show what, like, Soundholic looks like. Just guards. You're not taking part in the counters here. You're buffing. Three bubbles into Awakening. The bat again. So this time I use Rhapsody to not get knocked, and I just move over to the safe spot. If you don't have CC block, you use Shiny Sacred Bomb yourself. Or you spacebar. But yeah, one of the great parts about playing Bard is you can provide CC block to your party. That's more like it. Dodged. Time attack. Bat again? We call it the bat because he carries around the big bat during that pattern. Tofu. Castella. Oh, he turned. I thought I'd be safe space sparring over there. Oh, I was trying to chain skill. Okay, this one's really bad. Look what happened. So I was trying to buckshot it, the wave, because that's process. It caught me right after the buckshot motion. Sag. But yeah, generally, if you're trying to tank it in the front, you need to chain process immunity. It's not a good run. Angry Birds. So, although it's hard to see on the screen, you'd have to expect the safe spot to be over here. So I'm probably going to move over there. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Move in, move out. And if someone did get caught, that means there's going to be an explosion in the back, which means Rhapsody on the back, of course, to protect your party mates. Now, in this case, I don't have Awakening available yet. I'll probably be able to use it during the pattern, though. Dodge everything. 3 bubble. Is this also a nice damage window? Just guard. Best if you use a process immune skill while waiting for the just guard to happen, and then you press it so that you don't get knocked by the stuff on the ground. That's probably what I did. Do I use my awakening? My strats were really I use it. I use the hyper to not have to deal with the just guard, the second just guard. But if I used it earlier, this guy wouldn't have died. So that was bad play from my part. I should have used it earlier to provide the crisis. I didn't even react to the tofu properly. Bad run, bad run. This one sees the counter because it's 3 yellow. I didn't have counter available, so I didn't try to go for it. Black, black, black. You always want to look at the hand. The hand tells you what the color is. It's yellow, so don't counter. We just ignore the counter and go to the back. Go to the back. If you want to play it safe. Or else, like, see how much damage that guy took? Watch. If you get hit by it, you keep getting hit, and that hurts. Co-op. Best if you're gathered all in one spot so that he will always aim at you. Guardian Tune's already in, and then Rhapsody's in. This is good. So, like, this is a good example. When you see that pattern happening, if you have Guardian Tune available, you provide it. And then you Rhapsody, trying to provide yourself with push immunity and also tanking party mates. And you can just tank it. Full gauge pattern. So this is wrongly calculated, right? Because I should have had Awakening for this. It's a bad play from it. This is actually a good example. Because I get to show you what you should not do. So I should have kept my Awakening sometime in the past. Like this one, I used it right away. Even though it was 3/4, I used my Awakening. And so that led to me not having the Awakening available for the full gauge meg. So while Awakening usage in this gate is freestyle, the condition is to have Awakening available for the full gauge meg. That's so that it reduces the risk factor. The people trying to gather up to get the circles done properly. I'm frantically trying to protect my teammates, trying to give them shield as they try to deal with the mech. At least nobody died. But yeah, that's unnecessary risk and could have been thwarted by you managing your awakening, my awakening properly. The bat again? Is this like a fifth time? I had Guardian Tune, so... Or I think... did I CC block it? Yeah, actually I used Shiny Secret Bomb on myself. Because the Guardian Tune was on cooldown. But when it explodes, there is a slight process. So I try to negate that with Bookshot there. I think it was Bookshot. Ah, the bubbles. So you want to move between the bubbles so that because he's gonna get aggro to one target. You want to lead him between the bubbles so that he doesn't touch them. And then co-op. That was a stagger mech, easy. That one is the teleport counter. So you want to push immune initially and then try to counter. Tofu, Rhapsody. Not getting knocked. Awakening in. Time attack is done. The pattern was cancelled. That was another teleport counter. Note that like the reach of this teleport counter is insane. Like even though you think you're pretty far, he will reach you. So I tanked it with Guardian Tune in this case. And then try to spacebar forward just in case I could get the counter done. Not sure if it would have worked. The Mel pattern or the Kaisa pattern, those are League of Legends terms. This is the Kaisa pattern. This hurts a lot. A lot. Especially in TFM. So as support, you're trying to provide shielding. In TFM, actually what parties do is they just don't deal with it. They just all move out because it hurts so much. And also, if you get hit by it, it leads to a lot of gauge increase. Like if you look at this, it starts here, right? And we're all like basically all tanking it. It leads to so much gauge increase. Just guard. Always be ready for the just guards. They're very sudden, very fast. Hard to react to unless you're ready mentally for it. And back safe. Stagger pattern. Just keep moving and just do stagger. This one's easy. No, I guess not. We didn't have enough stagger. Okay, this scuff because he's facing a wall. Like these guys have to like manage well. Thankfully, I don't think. Yeah, I don't get hit. I do get hit at the end, but I did manage to fit in that winner music. Was it winner music? Yeah, winner music. Actually, that was sonic vibration. I guess they're fine though. They had Guardian Tune. Yeah, you're trying to process immune the bubbles coming from outside. And at the end, as support, you should not get sucked into the center. You want to be able to provide protection. Sidestep it. If you're not it, just sidestep it. I'm it. So that's what I do on my supports. I just use my DR skill. If it's just guard, you do just guard. If it's counter, he's going to go through you. You tank it using process immune. And when he reaches the end, he'll face you. You do the counter. Right? Mel again. That's the last pattern. So the sacrificial lamb is going in. Trying to get the stagger in. I use awakening to provide people with shielding. Also allows me to have push immune during the pizza patterns. Counter. Rhapsody slightly for the push immunity. I have 3 bubbles ready. T skill. Oh, you get to see all sorts of patterns. Nice. The butterfly pattern. So during this, generally this is not a DPS pattern. So what you do is like the DPS should try to just move out of it. Don't even deal with the co-op in TFM. Generally what's done. Because it's hard to dodge everything. The butterflies, the random puddles, and in TFM especially there's this extra orb. everything hurts hella. But on support, you're trying to protect your party mates as much as you can. If you see someone in a pinch, you try to provide them with Rhapsody. The goal is to get out of this with no one dead. Stagger pattern. Oh, might have been tight. And we're done. Yeah, that was kind of scuffed. The uptime doesn't reflect how bad this run was. Because this was from 1 month ago, basically. So still ironing out the details. If you want cleaner runs, you should look at the other support commentary. But yeah, with the hidden Armin, it's GG. Okay, for last we have Artist, Gate 2-1. Illusion Door is a must for the cleanse. And you take one of these two. It's up to you. Generally, I take Pouncing Tiger, but a lot of people take Sprinkle. And if you want to back up Purify, generally I take it on Upward Stroke. That works. But generally, though, Illusion Door should be enough as long as you manage the stacks. So you might not need to take Purify runes separately. But it's nice to have just in case. Okay, let's go into Gate 2 on Artist. Attack buff as we go in, branding applied from afar, and then identity buff. You're trying to build a lot of gauge and keep your teammates protected. Last one is a push there, the uppercut. So I tanked it using Upward Stroke. Starry Night to shield party mates from that circle explosion. Note that we have the balance changes, so we have stackable identity buff. So my gameplay might be a bit different from what you guys might experience. I think you guys are not getting the balance patch for the first week. That was kind of scuffed. I thought we were going in the front. It kind of worked. Yeah, let's recap on that. I think I was confused. I thought we were going to the front. We were actually going to the back. Thankfully, I think I got, yeah, Shiny Sacred. You know, someone used Shiny Sacred Charm on me. Not Bomb. Interesting. So I went around and used Awakening. And I spacebarred this one just in case. And then I used Shiny Sacred Bomb when it was my turn. But it was kind of late, because if you notice, I do get stunned by the individual. Oops, I think they're stunned too. Maybe not. But yeah, so I do get stunned. There's blue writing there. But the Shiny Sacred Bomb I threw late did land. It's best if you throw it a bit earlier than that, of course. And then like the position was kind of scuffed because this person's caught over here. Or not caught, they were just there. Huh. So I space barred that. Overall though, we did manage out of it. It's fine. Buffs going in. Swipe, that one's process. Just guard. Insight safe. That one is a push, so I used hopper into what? What did I do there? Hop, hop, hop. I guess I linked it into Sun Sketch. I didn't get knocked. Back safe. Sun Sketch hits everyone from afar. I thought that'd be safe because I was far enough, but it wasn't. Otherwise, I would have hopped inside. I tank it using Sun Sketch, the Just Guard. Starry Night to not get hit by the uppercut in case it was this way. There's a way to tell, but like generally just try to push immune it. Just guard and try to go to the back. Yeah, I'm process immune everything here, of course. Except for the initial just guard. Spacebar just in case I was standing on top of one of those blue telegraphs. I'm trying to build 2 bubbles, I think. And then when he hits the center, I'm using Awakening. Renew attack buff. I'm trying to provide cleanse to people, but this guy was a bit far. They did purify themselves though, good. So that's the purify timing, right? You want to note the awakening timing? And then purify when all the flames have reached the center. You want all people gathered up so it makes it easy for you to purify. One person dead. Chained process immune. Does not get knocked backwards. Ping in case you are sure where the direction is. Because sometimes people don't take note of where his direction was. So I tend to try to ping it for them if I see it. A nice damage window. First band explodes. The first strip explodes and then you can spacebar in. I use my awakening here. I just tank it using hopper into upward stroke. You can do that in hard mode, not in TFM. Attack buff. Oh, so I'm the clasher here. So I use attack buff and identity buff. I do get hit by the first one, but the second one and the third one are in. T-skill in. Brand renewed. Good. Because like when you're clashing as support, you also want to maintain uptime, right? You want to provide the buffs. You move out. Attack buff in. And then I hop, hop, hop to give them shield. Now we have the stagger check damage window. Apply stagger. Maintain uptime on identity buff as much as possible. I use Starry Night to protect people from the chestnuts exploding on the ground. And that was kind of tight, but I managed to hit the awakening right before the chestnut explosion. I like the better course of action would have been to just awaken here, I'd say. Like I'd use the identity buff so I don't waste it. One bubble buff into awakening. And then I can get out of this explosion in time. And then they'd be shielded throughout this thing. That would have been better, but like I was testing things here. I was testing the limits. So like the shield arrived right before the explosion. Because that can hurt a lot. So the Shandi +1 replenishes my awakening cooldown. I use 1 bubble heal to free up space for my awakening to get the 2 bubbles fully. I did lose Luminary there, so I'm trying to restack it. Carpet. Applied along with the attack buff and identity buff. And you move over to his side. Try to maintain position. If you're unsure about using Hopper in this part, just don't use it until the donut explosion happens. Because sometimes it's hard to navigate with Hopper. You have to aim it correctly. I reapply branding, and this is a shield pattern. Starry Night going in. Gotta protect your DPSs from the rain. Use Awakening. Get the bubbles. Also get some stagger in from that Awakening. Although using normal skills might be better stagger. And yeah, keep that uptime going. Best if I had not used that last Starry Night, because I won't have it available for this part. So I just like try to hop on them. But yeah, like I shouldn't have used Luminary at the end there, because the cooldown, I wouldn't have had it back for the rain. It's better to use DR on the DPSs for that, rather than just raw shield. Sometimes the rain goes, like, pierces through all the shields that they have. Especially true in TFM. Pre-apply attack buff and branding. And when he lands, I have a 2 bubble ready. I use Hyper because he's already dead anyways. So this is actually preparing for the next gate, 2-2 and 3. I didn't even need to use Hyper though. But whatever. Yeah, so with that, I have 3 bubbles exiting this part. Okay, Artist, Gate 2-2 and 3. So you go back to your Gate 1 skill setup. Pick 2 out of these 3 skills. Each offer different benefits. Take off Purify and Cleanse. I mean, not Cleanse if you're taking Illusion Door. But Purify. Anyways, let's go in. Attack buff, brand, identity buff, key skill. All going in. Attack buff, branding. If you stay close enough, you don't get hit by it, but it's hard to find that spot. So generally just try to push immune whenever he pierces. When you do this, when you're exiting, everyone's stacked up. When you're exiting, try to spacebar towards a spot that's safe. Just guard. These just guards are really quick. You need to be on guard at all times. This is the process immune pattern. So you want to process immune throughout and provide shielding to your DPSs. And if you see someone get dragged out like that by the balls, so like if you have even one moment of no process immune, you'll get dragged out by these balls. So that's why I chain Hopper into Starry Night, and that provides protection for people who are trying to process immune it. Now, in case someone gets drawn out, you want to try to protect them. If you have Sprinkle, you shoot it towards that direction. And Door of Illusion. Of course, when you're trying to tank this part, note that if you have Sprinkle, it does not have Process Immune, so you can't cast it during this if you're trying to tank it. There is a safe spot on the outskirts in between the balls, but it's like kind of hard to stand in it. So generally, and as a support especially, you're just trying to protect your DPSs, providing them with shielding as they tank this. See, these guys are tanking it. So I was trying to provide like Door of Illusion over there. See? The counter. So watch the hand. The hand is important on the last one. Wow, that was hard to see. Wait, what was the color? Black. Black. Yeah, that was hard to see. I think it was black, but yeah, that was black. So the last one is what matters. And you counter it if you see the same color on the ground. Explosion. So you bait Kazeros to the opposite direction of the bomb, so that you don't have to deal with the Just Guard. And try to shield party mates on your way out. Just Guard, counter. That's the 4 pattern. Tofu, and then time attack. Inside, outside. And then leave the front empty, so that we don't have a follow-up attack. If someone does get dragged, then you have to be ready to shield. Mel pattern, we're just tanking it. It's okay, especially while it's the half gauge pattern, because like the Mel pattern, if you get hit by it, it leads to a lot of gauge increase. But since the gauge is stopped during the time attack, it's fine. Finish off the time attack with Armin. $360. Pizza. 300 line stagger. I have hyper available along with T skill. Generally, 2 DPSs are assigned to use their hypers here. So you want to use T skill ASAP. And then I use my own hyper. This allows my DPSs to be safe from dying in case they get knocked. What you're doing here is you're applying shield while trying to do stagger and maintaining attack buff as well, because that was kind of scuffed. I guess I aimed the Just Guard in the wrong direction. But yeah, that was bad. But I don't die, no matter what, because I have hyper. The best way to deal with the Just Guard is you're chaining some sort of process immune skill, so that you don't get hit by the debris on the ground. And then you just guard during skill motion. That's most consistent. 360 pizza. You need double dashes like that. That's pizza. Imposter. Angry Bird. So 11 o'clock is over here. So I'm going to try to aim over there. Just guard. Just guard. Key skill. Their only supports don't counter during this. They're providing buffs. Except for the last one, the co-op you participate. Just guard. Gotta be quick to react to these things. Always on guard. Back safe. L'Oreal. So I tank it with Rhapsody and then hop for the process immunity. Push immunity. Just guard. Pac-Man. You want to dodge the Pac-Mans while trying to do stagger. And then at the end, he's going to aim the laser in some direction. Oh, they bring him down to 0? Okay. So yeah, at the end, you want to bait the laser. Yeah, and tank. Yeah, protect your party mates. When it blinks, you're spacebarring out. And if you fail to do that, that's what he does. Dodge, dodge, dodge. It's not a damage window because the DPS are trying to dodge anyways. Weird pizza. That one, you just push immune through it. Makes it easy. Trying to lead it to the opposite side of the map. So the bomb was like over here. So it's best if we move somewhere around here. Thankfully, this spot was also safe. But just in case I provided that Starry Night. Another time attack. Also, the full gauge mech is happening soon. It's best if I save Awakening for that. It's probably what I'm doing. Just guards into counter. Good. We're gonna get the full gauge mech soon. So I'm holding my Awakening. Identity buff in. Awakening going in as soon as that pattern happens. So I was ready. I don't have the bar on top of me. So I don't have to participate in mech. So I just try to provide some extra shielding if possible while maintaining buff uptime. Although that's not really a damage window with all this stuff that's going around. Spacebar when it blinks. Someone died. It's okay to get hit as a support for that pattern because it's attack par down as far as I understand it. So we have the sacrificial lamb. He entered. So now pizza. You're trying to do stagger. Just guard. Hop, hop, hop. And then next is co-op. You gotta memorize that order. And then finish up the stagger before it reaches the sacrifice. I hate this pattern. It's so hard to dodge. But yeah, you have a co-op that happens afterwards. And if you fail that, that's what he does. Counter. Very nicely done. Teleport counter that was. Oh, butterfly. Oh, Starry Night immediately. See, that guy could have died there. Let's watch this again. So the moment you see that he's doing the butterfly pattern, a lot of stuff is happening on the ground, right? This guy's sitting in like 3 puddles. And he got uppercut. So he react to it with Starry Night, just like that. So he doesn't die. And then there's a co-op at the end. Spotlight. It's me. It's on me. So I use Starry Night. Again, on supports, what I tend to do is I just use Process Immune. Easiest is just DR. So you just stand in position. And if it's just scarred, you react to it, like this. If it's a counter, he'll go through you, and at the end, he'll face towards you and give you a counter. This makes it easy. And the rest, you just dodge around, like this. And that's it. So from here on, we use Hidden Armin, and it's dead. Okay, that's it for support commentary in Kazeros hard mode. I'll be back with TFM Kazeros commentary once I do get all the clears. I'll see you then. Until then, peace out.